Hey guys, welcome back to another What If. Today we're doing part 3 to What If Naruto wakes up as a girl. And so yeah guys, I presume you guys may not need to know what happened in part 2, but just in case you decide to leave part 3 for a couple of hours or an entire day and have forgotten, well, there is a link in the description down below which takes you to a playlist where you can watch the previous parts in order, or you can watch the entire What If till the end, or skip to the end, where the end screen cards will pop up and you can proceed to click on playlist, and as I stated seconds ago, watch it in order from 1 to 3, or 1 to the current series part. And yeah, anyway, so without out of the way, let's get into this. So Naruto and Sasuke would be outside of the academy waiting for Sakura, and whilst they were waiting, Naruto somewhat should be kind of thinking about obviously the tuning exams and potentially having to reveal her what she's been keeping hidden, such as her wind, someone that she's been a wind affinity, trained as she's been training in wind, and that now only Kakashi so it knows, or potentially one that nobody knows, which is her golden chains ability bloodline thing. She wasn't sure. Of course, the adamantine chains. And yeah, though she did have a suspicion that the third Hokage, he was inside Toby, the old man, knew, and or probably Kakashi as well. That sensei Kakashi Hatake somewhat new as well. But yeah, she was more or less focusing on kind of the almost somewhat odd, ominous feeling. She didn't know why, but she just couldn't help but feel a slight ominous feeling in the air, like just like shit was just like a whole load of shit was going to happen. Yeah, she couldn't shake it. She didn't know. She just didn't know why, and yeah, but she's scared a bit. Anyone would be. It's as kind of Kakashi somewhat had, well, he's told them somewhat when kind of somewhat slightly explained about the tuning exams that he had mentioned that if they don't want to go, it's understandable, as Genin do die. And yeah, the fact he'd obviously nominated that, them, because it hit them somewhat a lot harder, that he's obviously nominating for them, and that it's a obviously big thing. He thinks that they can protect themselves from other Genin that are probably more experienced, or at least more experienced in the field, better trained, maybe, but definitely more experienced. And yeah, it really showed his confidence in them as a whole. And well, yeah, and although as the seconds would tick by, she'd start getting annoyed, where the frick was somewhat Sakura. Though finally she'd appear and Sakura would somewhat go, I'm sorry guys, I'm a bit late though. Sasuke would just somewhat grunt, and Naruto would sigh, though would state that it was no problem, Sakura-chan. And yeah, though from there they would all somewhat turn around, or Naruto somewhat who had been the last to turn around to now face the academy doors, as they would walk in and would proceed to only go up a floor, in which they would kind of just all start at a mob of people, and while all three of them would just kind of start the somewhat thing before standing out to one another, and they would all simultaneously say quietly Genjutsu. And yeah, they would both then somewhat kind of nod, and they would, and those Sasuke would somewhat gain a somewhat smirking which Naruto would just somewhat mentally groan. And well, yeah, as he'd shift to go over and obviously like he did in canon, that, you know, hey, this is just like, you know, stupid Gen, you know, let me, kind of initially let me in, and then that, and then, you know, reveal it's a Genjutsu, and yeah, annoying. And, well, to be honest, Sakura kind of somewhat followed more of Naruto's annoyance with Sakura. Somewhat that kind of this, you thought, well, if someone, you know, with all three of them, someone knowing it, they would maybe avoid it, because, you know, it was clearly, you know, reading out the people that can't tell a Genjutsu, you know, and, well, yeah, he's somewhat Genjutsu, so, yeah, but Sasuke just had to go open his mouth and make it harder. Way to go, idiot. Yeah, though she wouldn't exactly think that, or obviously she wouldn't call her Sasuke-kun an idiot, but whereas tiny bit of her was considering him a giant-ass idiot, you know, egotistical idiot. And, you know, people freaking die, you know, there's a high chance that they will never die, damn it. Or at least that's what was running through someone Naruto's head was, damn it, you freaking arrogant jackass. You know, yeah. And if she somewhat could, right now she'd put her hands around somewhat Sasuke and be wringing him while somewhat wringing his neck out while saying that. Pretty much her inner Kushina. But yeah, her somewhat very much inner Kushina, very much being called forward. Somewhat forth at the moment, and yeah. Anyway, though, after that, they would end up, of course, somewhat going, and Sasuke would end up having a somewhat fight with Lee. Though now to think about getting in between them, like he somewhat did in canon, but would decide not to, as she'd rather not reveal potentially anything. And, well, yeah, though she wasn't really that surprised when Sasuke would lose, you know, after all, the Genin was a year ahead of them, and also, well, yeah, a year ahead of them, and from what she could see, was easily, you know, a taijutsu specialist. And, yeah. Though, well, yeah, that was, though the only reason why she could pick those out was because of what Kakashi was kind of somewhat doing. Somewhat if, you know, Sasuke and Sakura weren't going out, you know, yeah, sure, they would, you know, somewhat eat lunch together, a somewhat chunk of the same, but occasionally, you know, Sasuke or Sakura somewhat didn't, you know, kind of want to, you know, wanted to be somewhat alone or that. Or at least alone for Sasuke and, you know, Sakura, somewhat parents, you know, wanted to make sure she was, you know, okay, you know, not just somewhat, you know, dinner. And, yeah, so, somewhat when those times kind of arrived, somewhat Kakashi would kind of have somewhat, well, he's seemingly kind of play somewhat, you know, a small game to kind of pass somewhat the time. The seemingly game was to somewhat try and recognize as, you know, or at least where maybe a person was going, what a person maybe's got, you know, intentions or, you know, something like that. So yeah. And so Kakashi was kind of somewhat, you know, obviously somewhat getting Naruto's awareness somewhat slightly upwards, and also somewhat her ability to analyse people more, as after all the ability to analyse someone was incredibly valuable. After all, you don't, you know, you don't somewhat be, you know, going fall out against someone who's probably, you know, 50%, somewhat, you know, half as strong as you, though, say, in a somewhat the bingo book, who's stated to be, you know, 3 times, you know, maybe, say, 3 times stronger than you, and you'd think, you know, you'd barely, you know, struggle to maybe go win against a person, whereas, in fact, you're double the strength of the person, and somewhat actually. So, yeah. No, that's kind of an extreme case, but still, you know, it's useful to be able to analyse someone's abilities, and to know when someone is analysing you to throw them off, and thus obviously somewhat, you know, still being in a somewhat bright orange jacket and act like an idiot sometimes, most of the time somewhat, though Team 7 had kind of gotten used to Naruto doing that, and well, yeah, though those generally did it around somewhat either, Team 8, Team 10, or, other shinobi, so it was clear he was doing it to be, or he was doing it to be underestimated. And yeah, anyway, though of course they were somewhat, though after that somewhat fight, they would obviously go and meet up with Kashi, and they would somewhat go to the door in which Kashi would be there, and he'd perceive to sound that if only two of them were somewhat here and the fight didn't come, they wouldn't be that to obviously stop them, as it was a team, it was a team, so it had to go as a team, and that, and yeah, they would somewhat nod, and Sakura would kind of mentally somewhat thankful that she didn't have a, ticked off, or at least a massively disappointed Naruto and a pissed off, Sasuke, yeah. Anyway, though, somewhat after that, though, he'd step aside and would go and would obviously somewhat push up the door, in which they would walk in, and the people would proceed to blast the seemingly three somewhat, new people walking in with somewhat killing type, though they would just straight up ignore it. Well, yeah, it was, they didn't even notice, to be frank. Well, Naruto did. Sasuke, potentially, maybe. Sakura, maybe as well, but yeah, though she definitely knew that at the very least they were ignoring it. Yeah, and of course the somewhat initial, greetings and that happened like in canon would go like in canon, and yeah, and so would the initial somewhat start. After all, she wouldn't have no jutsu to be able to help her in kind of gathering information when she's around people. And yeah, anyway, though she'd end up so pretty much the initial thing would go like in canon. The first part would go like in canon. Of course, where it would all change would be during the Forest of Death, and I'm going to skip the anchor somewhat the initial kind of greetings, that as I don't see that really so much changing. Yeah, right, though, so they'd of course might end up entering obviously the forest, and yeah, where stuff would somewhat change would be of course when they would be blasted away, of course, somewhat. And yeah, now to know somewhat, or at least that some wind should be able, should know it as somewhat, firstly a wind-based jutsu, and also she kind of figured that it was probably great breakthrough, as after all it was just a massive gust of just wind. So yeah, though when she'd somewhat get her bearings, she'd all of a sudden somewhat see a massive freaking snake, and would somewhat just barely jump away from it, and would wonder, that the plot didn't mention that there'd be giant ass snakes, though then again the plot didn't really state any animals that they'd be going against. So yeah, though she'd somewhat run through her head on somewhat potential abilities from which she could do, though the only one she'd know that would potentially harm that would be her kunai, that would be ran through with wind chakra. But besides from that, she'd end up then sort of realising, right, I could, and she'd somewhat allow somewhat side, but she'd know she'd have to get to Sasuke and Sakura now, so she'd somewhat send chakra into somewhat back, and a somewhat rinse of pain as 2 chains would shoot from her back. And yeah, of course she'd been somewhat getting used to using one, and she'd gotten used to the pain of one generated, but she hadn't quite gotten used to generating 2. And yeah, so pretty much, of course, generating 1 chain meant it was 1 centimeter thick. Generating 2 chains meant it was how many? 1 second. So it'd be, so each somewhat chain, or at least somewhat 2 chains now would be 5 millimeters. And yeah, and so somewhat from there they would, somewhat, of course, the chains somewhat being incredibly obviously strong, pure pretty much anti-magic chakra, nothing could obviously outbeat it. So probably besides from a somewhat veteran Uzumaki, or somewhat that also has the anti-magic chains. Yeah. Anyway, the other chains would just go straight through the sort of thing, the snake, and of course its chakra suppressing ability would immediately somewhat trigger, which would cause the giant snake to immediately disappear in a puff of smoke, due to the fact that it's, or at least the chakra that was somewhat blocking it, at least allowing it to be here, would disappear. So it would end up being reversed summoned, as in a way the somewhat, in a way the Seal would obviously somewhat see the summoning creature with a chakra signature of all of a sudden 0, which would think it's dead. It would obviously need to somewhat bring back its body, so it would disappear in a puff of smoke, with obviously not really giant, but to somewhat to just hold straight through its body. And yeah, seeing that just being a puff of smoke, she didn't think about it just being a giant shadow clone transformed into a snake or something else like that, as she wasn't exactly aware of summoning, as Kakashi kind of never really somewhat brought it up. He never really showed them as his dog, so none of them actually really knew somewhat about summoning and that. And yeah, so she'd just be left somewhat confused. So she'd somewhat shake her head and she'd go, damn it, I can't somewhat linger here. And she'd proceed to somewhat just cut the she'd pull back somewhat her chains somewhat before just cutting somewhat chakra to it, as she'd rather not get blood on her. And yeah, and so from there she'd then run in the direction she hopes that obviously her team was in the direction she'd come from. And yeah, and thankfully before long she'd end up somewhat, of course, arriving, and she'd almost immediately think about jumping in that, but Kakashi and some of his training was sure they mainly did train in elemental chakra at the moment, as his obviously main priority was getting them to level 2 so that they could they could start potentially making their own jutsus, and that, either that or Kakashi kind of teaching them, or at least pushing them something in their own kind of direction, Sakura potentially into medical ninjutsu or genjutsu, Sasuke probably into kenjutsu, the art of the sword, and Naruto potentially into maybe just probably somewhat helping her develop his taijutsu even more, and teaching him the Rasengan, and maybe poison as well, but you'd need obviously a different person. Anyway, so of course, besides somewhat that, though, he at least did somewhat more, at least drilling to somewhat Naruto, and done to obviously somewhat if their team, if one of their teammates has been attacked, to not jump in, not like he did during the Land of Heroes, to try and save Sasuke, to watch that opponent, to try and get as much information as possible before trying to help. And so you should watch somewhat in the shadows as you'd transform some of her clothes into just pure blackness. And her somewhat hit height with into somewhat a kind of somewhat hat, kind of hood, something that would cover somewhat hair, pushing it against her head, and in pure somewhat blackness. So the only thing that anyone would see, if they would be able to see her or him, would be somewhat just the somewhat slightly lightened tanned skin and 3 whisker marks and 2 eyes. That was it. Actually, the only reason why they'd be able to see her 6 whisker marks were because they were black. That was really the only reason. But anyway, those should somewhat just stay there in the shadows, kind of watching, and though finally after a while, similarly somewhat Orochimaru would go into similarly go and bite Sasuke, seeing the person similarly, elongate their neck, and would seemingly seem like their teeth or fangs, how she figured they definitely looked more like fangs and not teeth. Just as somewhat similarly the person was going to sink their fangs into Sasuke's neck, so would rapidly go through hand signs and would do, and somewhat taking in a lot of somewhat air, would somewhat blow it out in a very compressive state, and should somewhat mentally say wind style, wind billet. And I know it's pretty much called vacuum billet, but it's not a vacuum, they're not pulling a vacuum. It's wind billet, not vacuum billet, wind billet. So and it would somewhat shoot across of the somewhat though, and she'd mainly aimed at the kind of midpoint of the person's kind of some long neck, and just as somewhat Orochimaru's fangs were about to sink into Sasuke's neck, all of a sudden head would be sort of ripped away while pain, would somewhat shock and pain would shoot through Orochimaru's body, and as would then find somewhat obviously neck being ripped away, but would obviously quickly retract somewhat neck, and would realise that was a wind billet. And Orochimaru somewhat gas, obviously the 3rd teammate was here, and not unless though he'd somewhat look over and Pinky was still there. So but you'd try and somewhat search for where it came, but it had no chakra path. That was just the path in which it came from. It was odd. Jutsus did. That was odd. Not unless the person was obviously suppressing that chakra, but even so, Jutsu should, not unless it was potentially fight so fast, or the person was so close that the jutsu really didn't have no real, or at least the somewhat person's actual control over the jutsu was high enough that however far away they are, or Naruto is, somewhat still had control over the actual shape, so no chakra actually bled from the jutsu. So anyway, though it's somewhat Orochimaru would somewhat obviously trying to look and go, I know you're here, Brat. Where are you? somewhat Sasuke would go somewhat snap out and go, Naruto, run, go away, you don't stand a chance. Oh, I don't stand a chance. I kind of figured that, Sasuke, that I don't stand a somewhat chance. But, and Sensei said, for those who abandon missions are scum, but those who abandon their teammates, well, they're worse than scum now. And yeah. The person would go, so Hatake Kakashi is his sensei. Well, guess that was somewhat obvious. Well, it doesn't matter. And some would say, though he'd obviously shoot forward, though Naruto's voice was just somewhat everywhere, seemingly. Yeah, mainly Naruto thankfully using shadow clones to to project their voice seemingly everywhere. And yeah, though of course the person was just straight, going for Sasuke again when it once more, though this time we just barely dodged the wind bullet and would somewhat go in that direction and would proceed to do a somewhat jutsu in which would simply result in a puff of smoke. And he wasn't sure if that was a replacement or somewhat the successful dispelling of a shadow clone. And yeah, so obviously some time would somewhat pass with that happening, just a couple of seconds as you'd end up just deciding to do somewhat, just somewhat let out just a ton of bloodlust, in which would somewhat get out to all the other clones would seemingly almost immediately just release those and it caused her to somewhat slightly tremble, though she'd just somewhat shut her eyes and she'd taken a couple of deep breaths to calm herself. So the feeling and just want to end it and to maybe even take her own life by her own hands was getting up there, but she would just somewhat take a couple of breaths to just somewhat calm herself, or at least her mind. And she'd somewhat look over and would cast Sakura was practically just somewhat on the tree out, not that from the sheer amount of bloodlust or killing intent. And Sasuke looked like he was going to follow. Those should end up feeling an odd somewhat, though, as she'd somewhat curse, she'd feel somewhat stronger. All of a sudden she'd start feeling chakra well up inside of her, this energy, but also felt, and she'd realise, and she'd somewhat mentally cast the damage the fastest chakra, and she'd somewhat try and push it down, and she'd somewhat curse as it was kind of somewhat suddenly coming out when she'd seemingly almost instinctively start moulding her chakra in the way of the somewhat change, and the second it completed, the chakra would start to go back into the seal. Of course, the seal was, it was somewhat, whilst it was weak, it wasn't somewhat, to somewhat that degree in which Naruto somewhat, somewhat change wouldn't be able to push back the small amount of the fastest chakra. And so though with that all gone, she'd realise moulding her chakra in the way of the chains allowed her to suppress the fox's chakra, or at least that was somewhat starting to eke out from the seal. And she'd realised does it, and if so, then maybe she could use it against her enemy. And so or at least somewhat another fight would start. And yeah, though of course somewhat Armbu were of course now within obviously somewhat the forest of death and somewhat, and well yeah, of course the fight was somewhat went on long and he'd somewhat just curse as he'd just, and yeah, it was married somewhat had enough playing line, so he'd rapidly go through a couple of hand signs and we'd once more do install great breakthrough, mainly channeling it at the Naruto seemed to kind of shoot through a couple of trees. So he'd rather put the 5 elemental seal on him to kind of ruin his control and suppress the fox, but no, well potentially suppress the fox, but mainly screw up with his chakra. Yeah, that we'd go to obviously Sasuke and would bite down on Sasuke's neck. She'd end up somewhat arriving to see somewhat the person similarly somewhat chuckling, going, well you was too late, somewhat little Uzumaki, but maybe next time. As somewhat disappearing out with cast, and yeah, though Sasuke seemingly screaming and that in pain had woken Sakura up from her impromptu somewhat pass out nap. And so yeah, after that they obviously somewhat Naruto and Sakura but someone go into the seemingly same tree, and well yeah, they would somewhat take it in kind of turns, somewhat staying up. And yeah, though the somewhat next morning now to be startled awake from an explosion. And yeah, and of course it'd be the similarly somewhat sound team. And yeah, and while of course, yeah, Naruto already somewhat seen them, and yeah, though Sakura, and she could see somewhat Sakura looked a bit somewhat uneasy, though she'd somewhat get up and she'd stand she'd stand beside Sakura and would simply state to remember Sakura. Somewhat they potentially may be of getting in for longer, but we've been trained under Kakashi. After all, remember what Sab-Zab called him, Kakashi of the somewhat the copycat ninja, or the ninja of 1,000 jutsu. He's clearly somewhat famous, and well yeah, so somewhat he's, and yeah, and he trusts us, so Sakura just take a somewhat deep breath and would somewhat nod. And yeah, though the summer players obviously would just stay, bring some, that they only want Sasuke into, and that, and yeah. Though of course though Sakura stated somewhat she wasn't going to give them somewhat a Sasuke can somewhat over a dead body in Richmond. Well, fine then. And yeah, though one would simply somewhat smash that, somewhat similarly hands together, causing a obviously somewhat to matter noise and Rich. Naruto kind of remembering the person sim already somewhat time before would rapidly go through hand signs and and would go and would simply just somewhat breathe out a somewhat great breakthrough just in the nick of time, just as the person would call out their somewhat jutsu, they'd be pushed back, and Sakura would be somewhat surprised and what was that? Isn't that who would somewhat come straight to win style quietly, great breakthrough. Sakura would be somewhat surprised and would go, you have trained it by myself. After all, somewhat after, somewhat, if I'm similarly kind of has most unpredictable ninja, well, I need to keep up with that now, don't I? Sakura had somewhat just, she couldn't help it, just somewhat in this situation couldn't help but just somewhat snort somewhat. She really was, well yeah, Naruto really was keeping up with the, just, yeah, somewhat with that. And yeah, though they'd somewhat pull out and yeah, though, yeah. And well, yeah, of course Naruto knew any of her somewhat water jutsus were useless because she had none. Well, there weren't really anywhere near a lake, and she'd have rather, sat kind of up closer to a lake because she'd be useful. The only one that was really useful was Sakura with her somewhat fire jutsu, and she could obviously amplify the fire with wind. So yeah. Though of course Sakura probably would have to, well yeah, couldn't obviously just, shoot them out willy-nilly, of course. After all, she only had a somewhat small, very, small amount of, somewhat chocolate. It was more like a pinch of salt to Naruto's, to her somewhat reserves. Sakura's was just a barely, pinch of salt to, Naruto's reserves. Yeah, anyway. Though they would actually be able to somewhat kind of hold off in that, though, well yeah, something for at least a decent amount of, well yeah, something good enough to somewhat, or at least kind of, though Naruto somewhat knew, she didn't know why, but she knew there were people around her and she would rather not use her, go and change, so if it was just dumb and, the enemy, she could kill them, and yeah. But, well yeah, due to having other teams on, she'd rather not like to show it yet. And yeah, so she was somewhat limiting herself, though if she really had to, she would, when all of a sudden somewhat Naruto and Sakura would kind of momentarily somewhat freeze, and they both snap their heads somewhat behind them as Sasuke would somewhat get up. Seemingly with somewhat obviously marks, from the point, some are obviously starting to come across his body, and well, yeah, both would kind of somewhat, shivering, somewhat disgust in that, and yeah, Sasuke would similarly somewhat come out and seeing the way, or at least somewhat Sakura somewhat looked, would ask, Sakura, who hurt you? And well, Naruto just snort. Well, look who somewhat decided to wake up. Or at least before Naruto could even make a somewhat a remark, one of them somewhat would. And well, yeah, Sasuke proceeded to break the whoever his pass his hands on, and proceeded to do that. And yeah, though it wouldn't be too long later when they would end up obviously calling somewhat for a retreat. Sakura would, cuddle Sasuke, gives us a somewhat cuddle, which would calm Sasuke down, and yeah. And well, yeah, somewhat after that, yeah, though they would somewhat grab the scroll, though somewhat very Naruto state, I know yous are out there, come out or leave. And yeah, somewhat Team 8, I think it, but well no, Team 8 wasn't there. Team 10 and Team 9, the guys team, would somewhat appear. Sakura and Sasuke would somewhat, well yeah, and here they would be somewhat obviously somewhat on guard, and yeah, though they'd somewhat similarly stare down for a while as somewhat Naruto was starting to obviously raise somewhat her, or at least was going to somewhat really sharply raise up her somewhat chakra output to make a, cool, maybe smaller army to make sure the sick, somewhat they will obviously be outmarched by numbers. And yeah, though thankfully or at least somewhat, on Team 9's Team 10 would kind of convince them to somewhat leave, though, well yeah, and which they somewhat would, and yeah, they would somewhat leave, and Team 10 would somewhat leave as well. And yeah, those somewhat from there. Somewhat some of the time like in canon would go by, though of course when they'd somewhat come up to what's his name, Kabuto, Naruto would somewhat notice the somewhat slight potential smell of snakes, and yeah, so Naruto would be somewhat put somewhat on guard. Yeah, she didn't care if he was from Konoha, he's bad like snakes like the other person did, and she fought a freaking giant snake twice, because the person who also summoned the snake enriched and somewhat, realised that those are jutsu which allowed you to summon snakes or potentially animals, and yeah, she'd have to ask that sensei more about that, and yeah, anyway, though somewhat they would obviously somewhat get their second scroll that they need, and would somewhat get to the tower, of course, somewhat in the somewhat nick of time, and yeah, they would somewhat go in, and of course they wouldn't be as worse for wear. Sasuke would be in a somewhat similar situation to what he was kind of in canon. Sasuke's point would be the exact same. Sakura would be slightly better due to the somewhat obviously Naruto being there to help Sakura, being awake to help her, so she wasn't as tired, but Sakura still ended up cutting her hair due to the fact she wanted to somewhat change, and she kind of realised, well, at least somewhat Naruto had obviously saved somewhat her from, being caught by the hair, so Sakura decided to kind of somewhat, or at least once they'd left, to somewhat cut her hair, in which it was clearly obvious she'd never cut her hair before, so, Naruto didn't know why, but she ended up finding herself being, or at least somewhat stuck behind her, somewhat cutting, or at least kind of somewhat fixing Sakura's somewhat hair, and Sasuke somewhat for the most part was just off getting some food for them, and she somewhat fixed Sakura's hair. Though Sakura simply obviously stated that she was really somewhat surprised that Naruto knew somewhat have to, or at least somewhat fix, and Naruto would go, why wouldn't I live on my own, Sakura, in which he'd somewhat wince slightly, but yeah, had the somewhat remembrance of, Naruto was obviously somewhat an orphan, so yeah, would go to say somewhat sorry, though Naruto would simply state there was no reason, obviously somewhat for sorry in that, and yeah. So, though Sakura would somewhat ask what was it kind of somewhat like, Naruto would go, what was what like, just being somewhat an orphan, though should quickly state, if you don't mind saying, Naruto, she didn't, Sakura didn't know why herself, but she wanted to kind of better know Naruto, maybe trying to understand what goes through his head so he's less unpredictable, but anyway, though Naruto is somewhat just struck and would kind of somewhat, or at least would state that or at least somewhat his experience would most definitely be different from Sasuke's and probably any other somewhat orphan, due to the fact he's kind of hated by the somewhat the entire village for something. Sakura stayed somewhat your pranks, right, dude? And Naruto just say somewhat his had no Sakura. Plus my pranks would only somewhat annoy 1, maybe 2% of Konoha, not 90-95% of Konoha. Pretty much most Jonin, well, somewhat, say 99% of Anbu, about 90 to 95% of Jonin, about 5 or 10% of Chunin, and well, yeah, somewhat didn't somewhat care about me. And when I mean by that, I mean they just saw me who I was just another orphan person from the Nine Tails attack. And yeah, though Naruto somewhat amount I think about telling Sakura, but just as he's about to tell Sakura about know in detail what kind of actually happened that night, Sasuke would end up appearing, kind of ruining some of that. And yeah, though Naruto would sort of state that Sakura's hair was kind of somewhat fixed, and yeah, though Sakura would somewhat turn around and kind of give Naruto somewhat a hug and would somewhat thank, and well, yeah, would somewhat thank him for not only doing her hair but also kind of giving her somewhat a bit of insight on somewhat his kind of life. And yeah, it just somewhat just struck though. Well, yeah, though somewhat being called the male pronouns was starting to feel more and more weird and awkward. Just starting to obviously actually want to be called by the correct pronoun, or at least somewhat gendered pronouns, female ones. And yeah. Anyway, yeah. So training exams. Yeah, so much. Though of course, back to the current present. So Sakura obviously. Kind of thing about it, they would end up opening scrolls and that would go down, and they would be somewhat ushered kind of into the I think just somewhat arriving in time. And yeah, though of course somewhat with them, though of course somewhat they would all obviously be somewhat lined up in that, and yeah, Sakura would somewhat become worried obviously about somewhat Sasuke in that, and yeah, though when the plot would somewhat mention about obviously somewhat that they could or at least somewhat they could leave, as it was now, or at least somewhat individual somewhat thing, somewhat matches now. Sakura try and convince Sasuke to somewhat quit. And yeah, though somewhat after some bits, that would kind of go, Sakura, leave him. If he wants to try and fight someone with that with that odd mark on his neck, let him be, plus Sensei and so that second proctor with Anko, somewhat the woman, and somewhat the old man's watching Sasuke. So surely one of them has to know maybe how to get rid of it, or at the very least suppress it, or do something. And yeah, of course somewhat in a whisper, somewhat to kind of Sasuke would slightly feel a bit better that maybe Kakashi or the third Hokage could, get rid of it or suppress it at the very least. And yeah, and it would, Sakura would somewhat nod, and yeah, from there, of course, those scenes, no one, of course, the board would flash up, and it would be, the first fight, Sasuke and whoever passing it towards, and yeah. As they would somewhat go, Kakashi would come down and put a hand on Sasuke and would obviously tell him what he would in canon. And yeah, initially the fight would go like in canon, though by the end of it Sasuke would be the person somewhat worse due to just being stronger. And yeah, though of course after that Kakashi would seal the thing away, and people that did pass would pass up until Sakura and Ino's fight. Of course by then Kakashi would be back, and yeah, and of course somewhat Sakura would actually end up beating Ino, and would, yeah, and by a somewhat decent degree, as Kakashi had kind of somewhat obviously focused on, I mean, heavily somewhat in strength, and mainly mainly Sakura. Sakura was the weaker out of the three of them, and yeah, and so, well, yeah, so Sakura would be able to actually somewhat beat Ino, and would thus win her match. And of course, somewhat from there, of course, they were somewhat wondering, who's fighting, who Naruto would go up against, and yeah, and though Kakashi couldn't help but kind of compare, or at least somewhat, Naruto to everyone else, and kind of wonder from the small amount of information he knew from, the teams, and what were, from the people that were left, potentially, who could Naruto somewhat go up against and win. Yeah, though before obviously long the board ended up flashing up. Well, yeah, somewhat with obviously somewhat Naruto vs Kiba, and even though Kiba would obviously somewhat be bragging that, hey, he got, somewhat free passing or something like that, or, it'd be an easy win. Somewhat in Sakura and Kakashi's mind, they were just like, well, Naruto's just got a free win. They knew you just didn't underestimate Naruto. You just didn't. You were better. Well, yeah, it was unpredictable. You just don't underestimate him. You put him into a freaking corner and he does something, pulls out a freaking miracle. And yeah, seriously, it's like, you don't corner a cat, though Naruto isn't really a cat. But yeah, that, I guess, is more somewhat of a fox, so he's sly and could still, not really slide out because it's not a snake, but can find a way sort out. Yeah, can very much find a way out of situations, and yeah. And so someone should obviously come down and should momentarily think about, just yelling out to everyone that she's actually, female, and, release the transformation and that, but there was no real, kind of something against that. Plus, most of our body was like, or at least all of our minds was like, yeah, no, don't do that. Yeah, every part of our body was like, our mind was, don't you dare, don't you dare, you dumbass, someone do that. And yeah, anyway, so somewhat Kiba would obviously try and, somewhat in this kind of getting Naruto to somewhat, or at least somewhat, kind of forfeit all that, though seemingly after a bit, though he would someone could find then, and obviously plan to stay, would ask if they were ready, in which both would just nod, and he'd then start with somewhat fight. Kiba would try again, and Naruto would just kind of somewhat look at him and go, somewhat, sorry, did you say something? Of course, that would somewhat anger somewhat Kiba, and would somewhat trigger guy to go, damn it, Kakashi. Somewhat, and, somewhat, about youth, and that, shame that I don't really want to jump into. That's a whole rabbit hole, and, yeah, no thanks. And, yeah, anyway. Though, somewhat, though Naruto just, though Sakura would somewhat drop at that, though you can see it was kind of somewhat winding, somewhat to keep it up, and, though the fight would go, and something quickly easy, heck, and, you would obviously end up having to refill somewhat obviously win technique, because Kiba would end up obviously throwing a somewhat smoke bomb, and you'd end up somewhat charging at her, as Naruto would momentarily think about doing somewhat great breakthrough, but then end up kind of thinking about somewhat maybe obviously trying somewhat all around, but the only jutsu that would work all around would be somewhat water style, somewhat water dome shockwave, but basically combine that with great breakthrough, or just do somewhat wind style, somewhat wind somewhat wind dome shockwave or wind shockwave. Yes, who wasn't sure of those, you'd start going through some hand signs and we'd start someone channeling wind chakra instead of water. Kakashi, well, yeah, Kakashi somewhat with his kind of Sharingan open would be able to somewhat tell that she was using somewhat wind somewhat chakra, though you'd also know she was going for a really full set of hand signs, but wouldn't trigger the copy function in the Sharingan. What she was going to do, he wasn't going to copy, he wasn't going to, rip it off. No, not his students, not fellow Konoha Shinobi jutsus. No. If they wanted him to somewhat use it, they would teach it to him. He wasn't going to steal it by using the Sharingan. That wasn't his way. And yeah, so and she'd kind of somewhat manage this, and she'd hope it'd work, and yeah, of course she'd somewhat put chakra into it. She wasn't really sure how much wind chakra to put into it, so she'd end up putting so much into it that the ground, it would rip into the ground, causing just earth to be thrown up and that. And when it somewhat all set, once all the dust and the somewhat debris was somewhat kind of settled, yeah, and that was kind of somewhat to the left where she was standing, though the somewhat deeper down into the ground, as she it kind of caused a crater, a domed crater. And yeah, Kakashi just and someone just shake his head, and Sakura somewhat just would as well, though Kiba was shot over and something in the other drive into the wall, and they would somewhat then seem kind of hear him, or at least somewhat groan as he then proceeded to fall somewhat fast into somewhat the ground, and louder, and he or somewhat groan, and yeah, then they would hear somewhat the sounds of a somewhat whimper, and yeah, Sakura could also see obviously Akamaru, who Kiba hadn't quite called in yet, and yeah, it seemed like Naruto just dumped somewhat chakra kind of into it to just hope that it potentially worked, and yeah, it clearly did. Bit too well. Oh well, better safe than sorry. And yeah, though the somewhat proctor would somewhat call the match in Naruto's favour, and made it news would somewhat come out to go get somewhat Kiba and obviously Akamaru. Yeah, when somewhat Naruto, though, when he'd somewhat come up, though Kunai would go, don't you think that was a bit overboard, Naruto? Naruto would somewhat just look up to her and would go, would somewhat shrug, so we're Shinobi, we don't play fair. But he's a fellow Konoha Shinobi. So, right then and there, I could have killed him with no repercussion. He was, after all, my enemy. Just be thankful that he's alive, Kunai. And she'd, Kunai was somewhat kind of shocked, and yeah, obviously somewhat, so was obviously somewhat Hinata, who'd obviously made some cream or that, whatever. Obviously, that he kind of wanted to give Naruto, but was slightly thinking against that, maybe. Now, and, kind of what happened, where was the, blonde which he somewhat, kind of, had a crush on all that, and yeah. Of course, Kakashi somewhat heard this and wasn't all that surprised, and yeah, actually everyone kind of heard it. Naruto didn't. Maya wasn't keeping quiet by that, and to be honest, none of the really somewhat bad, and I saw Kunai was probably the only one, but Naruto was kind of right. Sure, she probably, he wouldn't have gotten to that point, but well, yeah. Anyway, though, somewhat aside from that, though the other fights would go like in canon, though just now with a somewhat, though one of the somewhat Jonin or that, probably Kakashi would do either Kakashi or Hizen would do somewhat an art style to level out the ground. And yeah. Anyway, though Kakashi would state though that she may have gotten dumped a bit too much stock into it, and she just somewhat shrugged and go out. Though she obviously somewhat stayed quietly, wasn't sure if that would work. I didn't exactly, try it beforehand. In fact, Kakashi would just nod, and yeah, those Sakura would simply just, though would state still somewhat well done for kind of the wind and value showed somewhat, or at least, Kiba to not underestimate you, and Richard just kind of somewhat nod, and yeah. Anyway, of course, they'd all obviously somewhat after the rest of the somewhat fights, which would go like in canon, they would, obviously somewhat end up drawing things and somewhat. Was it Dosu who passed? I don't remember. No, it's not Dosu, because he's the one with the hand who had his hands blown off. I don't remember. The person who ever somewhat passed would be put. Obviously, someone Sakura would obviously go up against that person. And so what's his name? Team 10 Shikamaru wouldn't obviously have to fight twice. Yeah, and have to obviously end up with have to go against Neji. And yeah. Anyway, though, somewhat with that, guys, I'm gonna end this part here. So if you have enjoyed this part, do tell me in the comments down below, guys, and yeah. So, hope you guys and gals have a good day or night, depending on whether you are and whenever you watch this. And remember, part 4 and potentially part 5 will be out the day after tomorrow, so Friday. And yeah, anyway, guys and gals, have a good day or night, and good